This is Nigel G. Stinso, BE3 Block 2. Reporting the methods of payment. Cash in advance, a method of payment requiring the buyer to pay before shipment is effected. So here's the explanation. If money received by an individual or company for a service or product that has not yet to be provided or delivered, it is an earned revenues or prepayment. Letters of credit. First, irrevocable. LICs that cannot be amended without the agreement of all parties to the credit, that is the beneficiary, the buyer, and issuing bank. So here's the explanation. An irrevocable letter of credit cannot be cancelled nor in any way modified except with the explicit agreement of all parties involved, the buyer, the seller, and issuing bank. Here are the example of irrevocable. The issuing bank does not have the authority by itself to change any of the terms of an LOC. LOC means letter of credit once it is issued. The second one of letters of credit is revocable. LICs that may be amended by issuing bank without prior notice to the exporter, which is the beneficiary. However, issuing banks must honor drafts duly negotiated by other banks prior to revocation. Another explanation of revocable. It can be amended which is correction or improvement, cancelled, or revoke. Revoke is to take back or cancel at any time and it cannot be confirmed. The third one of letters of credit is confirmed. A credit in which another bank, usually the advising bank, confirm its obligation to honor drafts and documents presented by the beneficiary in accordance with the terms of credit. Another explanation of confirm. The advising banks adds its confirmation to the LC at the issuing bank's request. The advising bank then becomes the confirming bank and undertakes to pay the beneficiary if the LC is complied with, which is this is a separate undertaking from the one given by the issuing bank and to offers extra security to the seller, and also payment guaranteed by the issuing banks. The fourth one is transferable. LOC that permit a beneficiary to transfer the credit to a second beneficiary. Another explanation of transferable. The first beneficiary allows to transfer some of all of the credit to another party, which is the secondary beneficiary. The fifth one is back-to-back. A letter of credit that is issued on the strength of another LOC. Back-to-back explanation. It involves two letters of credit to secure financing from a single transaction, or back-to-back letters of credit are used primarily in international transactions. Back-to-back example. If Company A in Germany sells automobile parts and a Company C in Australia wants to buy them but are not in direct another with one another. However, a broker B in London, who knows both the parties, enters the trade as an intermediary. The sixth one is resolving. An agreement in which the buyer is allowed to replenish the credit after it is drawn down by a seller. Another explanation of resolving. The buyer have the authority replenish. Replenish means to renew after the said transaction between the buyer and the seller. The seventh one is red clause credit. Advances or pre-export financing provided to an agent or distributor for the purchase of merchandise from a supplier. Another explanation of red clause credit. A red clause letter of credit is an unsecured loan that a buyer extends to the seller considered in advances. The eighth one is green clause credit. When advances are made and presentation of warehouse receipts. Another explanation of grain class credit. It provides the advance not only for the purchase of raw materials, processing and packaging of goods, but also pre-shipment, warehousing at the part of origin, and insurance expense. The 9-1 is deferred payment credit. The seller agrees not present a sight draft until after a specified period following presentation of documents. Another example of deferred payment credit. This is an agreement to pay for a later date. Example of deferred payment credit. 0% credit card is deferred revenue for the bank that collects the monthly payment without an additional free interest rate. The 10th one is standby, a credit used to guarantee that party will fulfill the obligation under a sales or service contract. Example of standby. An oil refining company to reassure a seller of crude oil that it can for a huge delivery for a crude oil. The 11th one is straight. An LIC that is payable at the issuing bank or at a design noted bank nominated in the letter of credit. Another explanation of the straight credit, the bank only being allowed to make payment to the beneficiary name in the letter. In short, they are not permitted to send any amount to any third parties or intermediaries. The last but not the least, negotiable credit, an LIC that can be negotiated at any bank. Another explanation of negotiable, a bank guaranteeing that a buyer's payment to a seller will be received on time and for the correct amount. And that's all my report about methods of payment and international trade and agreement.